I think the key development over the last month is that we've become the second largest ship registry in the world. We're now approaching 150 million gross tons. I think currently it's about 148 and a half or something. But this year we've seen significant growth in the registry. But the key point, I think, speak for all of us, is the fact that it's not just the growth, it's the fact that the age of the fleet is about 9 years of age. And we've maintained our position on all the white lists at the upper end of the white list and maintained our position on the US Qual Ship programme. That's really the key. It's not just the size, it's the quality of the fleet. That's the most important thing.
Yeah, on the Qual Ship note, we're very pleased to be on Qual Ship again for 13 years now in a row, which is unprecedented for a major flag to be on Qual Ship 21. And also the Coast Guard is bringing into new initiatives with Qual Ship, one being E0 initiative, and so that's actually giving a little bit more flavor for the Qual Ship, incentives for the owners to be with a Qual Ship flag, less scrutiny from the U.S. Coast Guard and trading into U.S. waters. So that's a big thing for us.
Another note I would like to say is that we'll continue to, irrespective of the growth we have, the major challenge is to continue to give the same service and have the same quality of the fleet as Bill and John described before. So we will continue to invest among our resources, setting up proper structures worldwide, having inspectors and safety and technical people worldwide, because we want to ensure that in the future we'll be able to provide the high first quality service that we used to provide for the last 17, 18 years that the Marshall Islands Registry is growing. So this is our major objective and the major challenge we have for the next few years.
Yeah, just quickly, in talking about the structure, as Theo has just mentioned, we are adding another office in Korea, and that will be sometime this year. We've already hired some of the personnel. So we have a Seoul office, but we're going to now have a Busan office also in Korea. So that will be 28 worldwide offices, which gives service to the owners right at the point of contact.
I guess to add to that, being based in Hong Kong, which is the headquarters for Asia, the office, just what Bill was saying, the Busan office is going to be with technical people. A lot of the technical management companies for the Korean owners are based down in Busan, and so having Busan or Korea as our fourth biggest owner by tonnage on our registry, we thought it's important to put more resources there on the technical side to ensure that they're getting the same sort of service in the local language, the local time zone from our flag right throughout.
I think with the safe operation of ships, the key thing is the training of personnel, that seafarers have to be properly trained and motivated. It's the motivational aspect of things, and that's the key factor on operating a ship. Because if you've got the sea staff who could be trained without any motivation on board, nothing really gets done because people aren't interested to do the job. But there is so much regulation now, it's almost they are being drowned with regulation. So you have to keep the crew motivated to make sure that the ships are operated in a safe manner. And the key thing there is that they have to be supported by the shore staff. It's a team effort. You've got the seafaring team, and then you've got the office-based team. And the whole thing should work together. The office is there to support the seafarers and to make sure that they are properly motivated and properly trained. There's a proper cadet training program in place as well, or junior officer training program, so that you have a pipeline, if you like, of well-trained, well-motivated seafarers. And that's really the key thing, I think.
And I think another matter which is also important is advanced technology. We have to spend more resources and investment on improving our technology and our IT department and things we can do electronically in the future. And perhaps Laura can say some things about the establishment of the electronic certificates and what we're doing with the IMO too on the class certificates too, our team in the IMO.
Now we're in the process of developing the technology to meet what most organizations are trying to do. DNV, GL, Class NK, LR are also issuing statutory certificates electronically. So the Flag State Administration's in the process of testing this. The next couple of weeks we should be able to issue provisional certificates of registry, liability certificates, the REC convention, the CLC, CLBC certificates electronically, radio station licenses. So it's a big development where you don't have to ship these and print them in paper form, so we can transmit them electronically, and the operators and owners will be able to either print them on the vessels or have them electronically. So in the next couple of weeks we expect that to be taking place.
I think one of the other issues, I mean, if we take the IT aspect of it, there is a lot more electronic equipment being placed on ships. And I think one of the things, particularly with Xenakoudis, for example, they all do the same thing, but all the controls are quite different from one piece of equipment from the other. So every time a crew member goes on board a different ship, he has to relearn how to use that. And I think there should be more standardization of the controls and on the equipment, so that there's more familiarity and more expertise by the seafarers when they go on board a ship, because that's when accidents happen, because seafarers aren't using the equipment properly.
Well, to advance safety, I think one thing that we're doing is we're reaching out much more to the officer conferences that are being conducted, and also seafarers conferences. We're trying to reach the seafarers directly from the flag state. Some of the things that we're seeing, especially when we have port state control issues, it's always it seems to be always the firefighting and life-saving are the two prominent things that are why ships are being detained. And as John always says, is that, you know, one thing the crew needs to concentrate on is firefighting and life-saving equipment, simply because it's their lives that are at stake. And so we are trying to some of the findings that we're having from various port state and flag state detentions on vessels, and some of the safety issues we're seeing, we're trying to communicate that better across the whole fleet. And that's the important thing, is to reach the crews, as John has mentioned before, but also, you know, the things that we're finding, we need to communicate better across the fleet and to the personnel.
I think just to go a little bit further from what Bill just mentioned there, I think similarly with the ship management companies, the operators, I think with the additional, the huge amount of regulations these days, I think it's important for the operators to have a better communication with the regulators, with the ship registries such as ourselves, and reach out to us more and ask us questions to ensure that they're not making a mistake without realizing things, because of the huge amount of regulations. Crew superintendents can't be expected to know it all, but I think from registry's point of view, because we have such a big group of technical people with knowledge and experience to handle these things, we like to encourage them to contact us more when they have a question or they're not sure on something. Reach out and get confirmation from a registry such as ourselves to ensure that mistakes aren't made for reasons where, you know, they might be too proud, or to say I don't know, but I don't want to be seen to not know, but have a better communication with us. And we always encourage our owners and operators to talk to us, ask us questions. We're not the police. We are here to support and help. And I think getting that kind of understanding with them, it goes a long way. You see the difference that the owners and the operators that do this, which we have a number of, and we see a big difference in the incidents and things that happen with port state control and things like that. So I think that's something I think we can develop further as an industry, I think.
Just to mention one initiative that we took lately, which of course is on an early stage yet. I mean, we haven't published it in our website, I think so, with the video that Brian and his team, I mean, our chief of fleet operations, they worked on a video that they describe some of the critical equipment that have to be checked before a vessel enters the port state control in US, or of course in other areas in Asia or Europe. So they send to the crew or to the DPAs or to the managers this video, which contains information about what are the safety issues that they have to focus on. And that, of course, can avoid the post-state control detention or a problem in a port, but of course it generates also a safety culture to the crew, because when they see something all the time, repeatedly, they realize that these are the items that they have to focus for their own safety, not because not only to avoid the detention, but also for their own safety. So this is very early right now. I don't know if we have it on our website. Probably we will in the future, because we have to work more formally on that and make it more, I would say, in a form which can be published for the rest of our operators. But this is something that we're developing now, and I think by the end of the year we'll have something even better.
It's quite interesting with the MLC. Our relationship with the ITF, shall we say, has improved considerably. As a registry, when we find out that a ship has a problem and the crew haven't been paid, for example, we always follow that up. Because many of us in the administration have been at sea ourselves, we understand the predicament for the seafarer, and because it really affects the seafarer's whole community, obviously his family and the wider group, because they are supporting in their areas a large group of people with their wages, and if they're not getting paid, it can affect that wider community. So we always will support the seafarer, and we've been very successful. We've had a number of situations, especially when in the offshore market, where some owners have become distressed. The ships have been laid up, the crew haven't been paid. So we have a number of different tactics, shall we say, to make sure that the crew get paid. And by and large, we've been very successful. And that, I think, has improved our relationship with the ITF, because I think they're not necessarily going to like us as an open registry, but I think they respect us more because we do support the seafarer. And we see that as one of our key roles as a flag administration, is to support the seafarer. And
No, go ahead.
no,
Sorry.
I was going to say, but so over the years we've built up a bit of experience on these things, and I think the MLC generally is doing a good job. I think the latest insurance that owners are taking out provides a bit of comfort for the seafarers, so that they can get paid much more quickly. It's not a case of them having to go through some very long, protracted court case or things like that to get their justified salaries. They can get paid much more quickly now. I think it's generally working quite well, and it makes people think a lot more than they used to as well. So I think it's working generally pretty well. Sometimes the regulation is not so easy to work around, but I think in general it's been quite good.
We actually have a dedicated captain who sailed for more than 20 years, who actually fields any complaints that come in on MLC. He actually does the investigation of the complaint. That's when a seafarer comes in to him directly through the flag state, through our email system. And so he's the one that chases down these issues. And having been a captain and been on board ship, he understands seafarers very well. And that's been helpful. Also, I think, yes, as John mentioned, that some of the distressed areas that we have had some owners that had distressed companies, and you do have some of the MLC problems. But on the whole, since MLC has come into force, we haven't had too many problems when you think about the size of the fleet being 3,500 to 4,000 vessels. It's actually very few from a statistical standpoint. But again, as a flag state, it is our role to look after the safety of the vessels and the seafarers. So we do take it very seriously. And that's why we have a dedicated resource on MLC. Feeling here is we're seeing a quiet optimism that's kind of growing in shipping again. I think the rates are going up, and again, we talked about safety issues and other issues. It's shipping is a business, and owners will get distressed when the rates are very low. So it's nice to see some uptick in the rates, and certainly we feel that there's an air of optimism that has been lacking in some of these conferences over the last several years in Europe and in North America and Asia. So we attend the conferences and we try to get a feeling for what's going on. But I definitely think in Norway we're seeing a certain amount of optimism.
Yeah, I think in this particular market, perhaps some of the Norwegian owners didn't necessarily stretch themselves too much when things were at the market when the market was at its highest. So they're in a very good position now to take advantage of the lower prices for ships, and with the rates coming up, I think it's very attractive for the owners here and some of the investors here as well. They're seeing a lot more activity here. So no, as Bill said, I totally agree. It's looking much more optimistic.
Just on the flag side and being at North Shipping and participating in this conference, one thing that we have an opportunity to do is to talk to owners, operators quietly and learn from them what we can do to improve our services. So we take that as an opportunity. We all go back to the office next week and sit down and talk about ways to improve things. And I think that's one thing we do as a registry, is communicate and innovate so that we can provide that better service that Winton was talking about earlier. Yeah. We get the customer feedback face to face here, so we really appreciate everyone's time during these shows, as it can be very busy for all of us.
And I think I agree with Laura. I think North Shipping as an event, I think, provides a great platform for the industry as a whole to come together and do what Laura mentioned we do with our clients, but an industry as a whole. We can come together, we do more networking, we expand our network to more providers of different services, and we exchange ideas and find out from each other some problems, learn from each other. And I think that's what a big part of these events are, is networking, meeting new people from different parts of the industry, learning from each of them. This industry is a very diverse industry. There are so many parts to it. Nobody can be a master of all of them, and I think getting the opportunity at such events to meet people from different part of the industry, learn something from, to ensure that people get better at what we're doing, I think this North Shipping provides a great platform for that. And I think the social side of shipping is a very relationship business, and I think it's been great. We've had a great few days. We've met so many owners, so many operators from all over the world, and we're getting feedback, and I think North Shipping as a whole is a great platform for that, and we're really grateful to be able to participate and be a part of it.
I think everything is well covered by everybody, but one thing I want to say is that Norway is one of the most important markets for us. It's number 3 in the flag in terms of ownership. It is growing, still growing. We're getting a lot of ships from the Norwegian owners, and which is something we appreciate. So one thing that we can guarantee is that we will be back here stronger, even with a bigger team if it's necessary, and we will continue to offer this kind of personal relationship and touch with a local market. We offer always a party in North Shipping, and this is the only way probably we can show a big respect to our owners for the things that they offer to us, because we have to engage with them, as Laura said, and get the feedback. But we also have to appreciate their business, because without the owners, nobody from the service, from the registry side of business or supplies or all the other service providers, we wouldn't be here today and having this kind of interview or this kind of business. So thanks to the Norwegian owners for supporting the flag.